One of my favorite strategies for telling a Bible story is a group telling. Our family will use this method often at Christmas time. We'll wake up in the morning and we'll sit down. We'll have our coffee, our chai, and hot cocoa, and we'll just sit around and someone will start the Christmas story, and then we'll take turns telling it. We call this popcorn storytelling or group telling because each person just tells a little part, and there's no order or way of doing it right or wrong. It's just we each tell the part that comes to mind and comes out. And it's a shared experience as we tell this group telling. Now, one of my favorite moments of a group telling at a conference was with John Walsh, as in many things happen great with Papa John. And John would have us get into a group, and he used the story called Death in the Pot. And it was about when the prophet was traveling back during a famine, and they ended up gathering gourds to feed the prophets, and it ends up being poisonous. And the person cries out, "Man of God, there's death in the pot." And John would have us shout as a group, "Man of God, there's death in the pot." But what he would have done is he put us in a circle, and we had to each take a turn telling the story in the circle. And we laughed so hard and always hoped that somehow in the popcorn, we would be the one that line would come to. So I started using this in my training, and I was so blown away by it that I usually made sure that it happened at the end of the day because I wanted people to leave happy. And this one always had us laughing and having a good time and learning that it's okay to have fun with the Word of God. And can also be used in serious ways, but I'm going to tell you about how to do it in a fun way. So Greg and I decided to incorporate different ways of telling Bible stories in our family devotionals with our children in order to get them motivated and to make it creative. And so we would have them tell that in a Jamaican accent, or really fast, or really slow, or sounding like they were from Texas. And the kids absolutely loved this. So we decided that with our group tellings, when we would get the group together, the first thing we would do is we would listen to the story. And then we would tell them, okay, you're going to have to get up and we're going to put you in a circle and you're going to each popcorn tell it. And you have to only tell a little bit because everybody in the circle has to be able to tell the story. And if they felt like they were struggling, we would actually ask them to listen again if they preferred to listen. But if they needed to see the text, we would actually have them read it then as a group and then get in a circle and prepare to tell. Now, the first time we would just allow them to get used to being in the circle. And so one person would start and they would go around and each person would tell their part of the story with no order in what we were allowed to say or shouldn't say. But we would tell them, if somebody messes up, we want them to go, "But wait," and then put in the correction, and then the story would start again in that spot in the story group. And people absolutely love it. I have done this with young, and I've done this with old people. And I have also used it with people who thought that they couldn't learn to tell a story. Now, something about being in the group and only being a part of a small piece, it made it easier. The other thing that I have noticed as we did this, some people really struggled with the story going around. They were so into what other people were saying that they would actually forget the story as soon as it came to them. So it challenges us to really internalize the story. It's a powerful tool for story recall, and it's a good one to use when we want to have fun. Now, there are many other things that you could do with a group telling. I've used it at a training where I had many tables, and I would just have the table of 5 or 8 after they would hear a story, tell it to the group. Another fun thing would be is just to stand up and do it in church as a group. You could have a group tell a story up front, at the front of the sanctuary. And people really enjoy this particular activity because it brings in laughter, but it also brings about engagement. And that is a tool that's very important nowadays as we are teaching people how to engage the Word of God. The more active they are in learning it, the more likely they are to recall it. It's so important to be in the Word. Shalom, y'all.